Welcome back, dear students, once again at this e-class. And today the topic we are going to discuss, the story we are going to discuss is My Beloved Charioteer. It is written by Shashi Deshpande and it's a beautiful, touching story, and I hope you will all enjoy this story. So let's start this particular class. First, like always, we will talk about a brief biographical description of Shashi Deshpande ma'am. She was born in Dharwad in Karnataka in 1938, and she is one of the eminent novelists and obviously short story writer of contemporary Indian literature in English. Her stature, her position in the panorama of Indian literature is very high because of her, we can say, very touching, very important and significant novels. In her numerous short stories, because we are dealing with a short story, we are not focusing on her novels. I will tell you about her short stories and novels. She has portrayed strong women characters that struggle against patriarchal society and make their mark. Dear friends, Shashi Deshpande's fiction and her short stories, either it is That Long Silence, A Matter of No Time, in all such works she has portrayed, she has presented women characters who are basically somehow oppressed or there are some struggles, but ultimately they emerge as survivors and winners. This is the special quality of her fiction. Uh, Okay, her first published novel was The Dark Holds No Terrors. It was published in 1986. It was her first published work, and then some other novels include That Long Silence, A Matter of Time, and her latest work, Shadow Play. This is her latest novel. She won, now these are the accolades she has won: Sahitya Akademi Award for the novel That Long Silence in 1990, and due to her contribution to the literature, Indian literature, she was awarded Padma Shri Award in 2009. Okay, after this brief biographical sketch, we will discuss about our today's story, My Beloved Charioteer. Now, My Beloved Charioteer, as you can see in this graphic, this is about, it is taken from her short story collection, It Was Dark. It is name of the book in which stories are collected. It is one of her most famous stories about three women belonging to three generations. There is one, two and three generations interlinked. They are mother-daughter pairs, and their personal, we can say, tragedies, their personal all kind of experiences, how they are clash into each other. We will also try to find out the significance of the title, especially this word charioteer, but after we will discuss the story. As we have already discussed, there are three basic characters. One is the Aji. She is the grandmother, or the we can say the eldest one in the story. Aarti, she is daughter of Aji. She has been widow for 7 years and living with Aji. And then we have this Preeti. She is Aarti's young daughter. So all of the story, they are the three characters in the story. If we talk about the story, Aji is the narrator of the story. Now, who is the narrator? Narrator is the person who tells the story. Sometimes it is the author himself or herself who tells the story. Then we call it omniscient narrator. Omniscient narrator. Now, what is an omniscient narrator? When the author, the writer himself or herself tells the story. But there are other times, there are other methods in which a character from the story tells the story, then it is the first person narrator, and it is like in this story, Aji is the narrator of the story. Her observations on the daily events in the lives of three women of the house is the main frame of the story. This is not a typical story in which there are we can say a chain of events presented. Rather, it is more about the observations, and with the observation there are reminiscences, there are recollection of some past events. Now, what happens? Aji has a very intimate bond with her granddaughter Preeti, who is the apple of her eye. She is very dear to Aji. Preeti also treats Aji as a close bosom friend. Rather than treating her as a grandparent, she treats her like a close friend, sharing secret with her and having a fun time with her Danima. Here Nanima, sorry. Aji's daughter Aarti has not been able to overcome the shock of the death of her husband Madhav. It is almost now 7 years that she lost her husband Madhav, but still she is living in the house aloof from everyone without showing any interest or enthusiasm for anything. So we can say the three characters present three different point of view, yeah, three different kind of experience sharing with them. As the story opens, we find Aji indulging Preeti while she gets ready for the school, like allowing her to drink tea even before she brushes her teeth. It is part of their secret ritual. Now, what does this mean? This means that every day Preeti has to go to school, so she rises early. Aji is there. Preeti's mother or Aarti, she is sleeping in another room, and they both have a kind of, we can say, a play of like she will call Aji that I want to drink milk, मैं brush नहीं करूँगी, and Aji will try to protest and say no, you have to do this, but ultimately there is a kind of patch up in which she allows her to have her way. Now what happens after this talking about many things in there before leaving to the school? Preeti finally leaves for school. Once she leaves for the school, once she is gone, the house becomes silent. Because Aji is alone, her daughter Aarti is sleeping in somewhere. Aji tells earlier also she was used the silence. Before Aarti moved into the house, Aji was at that time also living alone because she was a widow for a long time. But that time, that silence was quite soothing because she was able to remember some good things. Since Aarti has come, the silence has become quite awkward because there is no sort of communication between a mother and daughter. It has been now 7 years and Aji has become habitual to this particular silence also. Aarti awakes quite late, almost in the afternoon. Even then, there is a frosty silence. Frosty means they both are together in the same space, same room. They don't talk with each other. There is no communication between the two. Aarti just goes into the kitchen. Aji pours her cups of tea, one cup after second cup, and then both once again settle in their secluded worlds. They both are even living in the same house. It seems they are living in different worlds. Now, once Aji has tried to ask her if she had slept well. It was a general query. She was concerned about the health of her daughter, but Aarti had snapped back, pointing out that she never gets any sleep in the night, nor will she ever after death of her Madhav. This attitude or this kind of, we can say, response by Aarti shuts Aji also, her mother also, because she thought that Aarti must overcome the shock, overcome the tragedy of being a widow. Aji mulls over. Mulls over means meditate or think deeply about relationship with Aarti, which never has been an easy one. Even when she was a young child, Aarti was always close to her father and she never, you can say, open up with her mother. She was quite fond of her father and she grudges her mother for not telling her earlier about his health issue. In fact, Aarti was not at the proper place, and when Aji called her, it was only after her husband suffered a mild stroke and died. Now, Aji had not told her, as her husband had instructed her not to worry not to worry Aarti. So Aarti only came after his death, and she felt angry with her mother that she didn't inform him about this issue. Aji remembers also one particular incident in this regard, when she suddenly found Aarti laughing wildly. Most of the time Aarti remains silent, and there is a kind of, we can say, a very tense expression on her face. But one day she finds Aarti laughing wildly. When she asked her the reason, Aarti very coldly replied that she always believed she was different from her mother, but now both are same, a pair of widows. Obviously this kind of remark, because Aji thinks that she is old, to imagine herself as a widow is quite, you can say, normal, but to imagine her own child, her own daughter Aarti, who is relatively quite young, as a widow, it is not, you can say, easily palatable kind of thing. This remark was a sharp sting, ek dag ki tarah tha to Aji, who could see her daughter as a widow, a woman with no prospect of future happiness. She is not able to digest this thing. Now, what happens? Aarti is also sort of angry, not only with her mother, but also with her own daughter too. Aji comes to know this when one day Preeti expressed her desire to sleep with her rather than with her own mother Aarti. Now, Aji obviously was very much, you can say, excited that Preeti is going to share the bed with her, but at the same time she wants to know why Preeti doesn't want to sleep with her own mother. When Aji asked her the reason, the child hesitatingly, because she is afraid to say something which can hurt her, she told her that how Aarti always scolded her in the night too, how even more she didn't like the smell of smoke. Aarti smokes continuously without stopping, and till late night, and she is not able to, the child is not able to bear that particular pungent smell. Aji gradually realizes that Aarti is full of bitterness, and her personal tragedy has filled her heart with so much bitterness that, to the amazement of Aji, she can't even tolerate looking at other happy couples, and as such she never steps out of the house. This when Aji asks her to go outside, she says, where to go? Wherever I go, I find couples laughing and enjoying, and I can't tolerate. And Aji is unable to understand how can one be so cruel. She even very pointedly remarks that one cannot say with confidence that one knows one child, because she is not able to understand Aarti, her own child. Aji is not able to understand this harshness of her own daughter, and often wonders she must be somewhat responsible. Aji herself is responsible, her mother, for her resenting others' happiness. Still, the presence of Preeti at home saves Aji from any bitter thought, because they both enjoy each other company, doing little things. Here we will see the importance of having this innocent girl child with them. Aarti can't tolerate even Preeti's innocent act of merrymaking. Aji remembers how once she harshly told Preeti she must have forgotten her father, because instead of being sad about the fact, she has been enjoying the life. You can imagine the state of the child, or the reaction of the child, when her mother accuses her that she has forgotten her father. The child was quite nonplussed. Aji knows that Aarti won't allow her to share her grief, and she can only console her daughter imaginatively. She imagines lot of situations in which she is telling Aarti, don't do this. She is telling her that life is like a cup of life, you pour down and there is nothing left. But she knows that actually such conversation cannot happen between mother and daughter. More than her mother, Aarti has always liked her father. Even now she spends her afternoon in her father's room, sitting in his chair, and once again is smoking continuously. Generally, Aji never disturbs her and wonders only what her dead father can still give her, which she being alive can't give. She is also, we can say, quite angry about this fact that Aarti gets much relief still in the memories of her dead father rather than the living company of her mother. Now, what happens? Feeling hurt by the thought, she enters her husband's room. Aarti is sitting, looking at a glass frame photograph of her father, and the suddenness with which she enters, Aarti realizes Aji is there. In a startled reaction, the frame falls down and it is shattered into tiny splintered glasses. It seems, she feels sorry, Aarti feels sorry that she has broken the photograph, precious thing, and apologizing to her mother, she says she will get it fixed. But now, the climax of the story, Aji seems quite unmoved by the incident. She tells Aarti in a clear, distinct voice that the photograph doesn't matter for her, it has no value for her, and she never liked it in the first place. Aarti is clueless. She is surprised at her mother's reaction, but for Aji, it seems she has finally decided to open her clogged heart to Aarti. The emotions that have been laying there, suppressed for such a long time, now finally have their vent. Aji tells her that once he died, her husband died, she let her husband go away from her daily life also. But even Aarti means no more to her than the ash of cigarettes Aarti smokes, because she has never been able to her daughter to her. Obviously, Aarti is taken back by this behavior of her mother, and now what happens? A floodgate has opened and Aarti gives vent to her suppressed feelings. She ruthlessly informs Aarti about her married life, how dominant Aarti's father was as a husband. She tells her how she lived for 25 years in a constant fear of doing anything which could make her husband unhappy, combing her hair because he didn't like women combing hair in front of them, so combing her hair very stealthily, making his tea with a particular temperature, preparing his food, what he likes, what he doesn't like, all the mundane details she lay bare to Aarti. And Aarti wants to stop her from bearing her married life, but Aji goes on recounting how when she lost Aarti's baby brothers, she wept in secret because her husband couldn't stand tears. All these things she is very nonchalantly, in a very indifferent manner, she is telling to Aarti. Naturally, Aarti is feeling quite uncomfortable getting to know the unseen life of her parents in such a crude fashion. And Aji, however, continues to reveal the details of her loveless marriage to her own daughter. She even points out how when she saw Aarti and Madhav together once they were at their home, she felt a pang of jealousy for her own daughter, because Aji's husband or Aarti's father never have a good conversation, never have quality time with her mother, and so Aji was not able to understand what Aarti and Madhav are laughing about, talking about, and she felt, okay, my husband doesn't love me, and this is the case of the jealousy. That's why when her husband died, Aji says she felt as relieved of a burden as Preeti does when her school is over. She was not a wife, she was just a slave. Now, nonplussed, not able to understand what her mother is talking about, Aarti stares at her. Both are weeping profusely, and she is seeing an altogether different person. finally leaves the room. Now what happens? Aji, she is exhausted with her emotional burst. She slumps down in a chair, thinking now what Aarti may be thinking about her. She has done what she can never, we can say, have the courage to do, but now today she has done this. She hears the voice of Preeti calling out her, and as if regaining her strength, she shouts back to her. With this, the story ends. Now friends, in the beginning I have told you about, story is about the tense relationship between the mother and daughter, and how the mother finally gives outlet to her feelings. The reason, in order to show her daughter the cruel reality of life. If we talk about the title, this is there are sometimes, if technology gives us benefits, there are some, we can say, deficiencies also. So bear with me, and we will talk about the title shortly. While if we talk about the title charioteer, charioteer is a person who guides a chariot, basically. So if Aji is a Krishna-like charioteer to Aarti while taking her through the battlefield of life. So for one thing, she is like a Krishna-like charioteer, Aarti is like Arjuna, and even if it means fighting with one's own, then it's okay, because she is taking her daughter to a battlefield. And Preeti is also a charioteer, beloved charioteer, because she guides her from the worn-out world to an innocent, carefree heaven of her own. So these both characters, Aji for her daughter and Preeti for her grandmother, are the charioteers who take them with the tough time. Okay, these are some key points which you should remember. Character of Aji, and you can compare and contrast it with that of Aarti and their relationship with their daughters. And this is the same thing. The theme of suffering, how Aji and Aarti, they have different approach to life regarding suffering. And most important one is the significance of the title. That's all for today, dear friends. Thank you.